So following up to my observations of FP1 at Suzuka, there were some interesting developments in FP2, or practice session 2, and that was with McLaren. And so they made some strides, and how could they not? Because at Shanghai, they didn't even get the cars to the grid. And so here, what we have is them really leading the pace in FP2, and that was with Oscar Piastri. So he set the pace for McLaren, and then that was followed again by Mercedes with Antonelli and George Russell. And then sort of bringing that up was the Ferraris with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, but they're sort of a bit off of the pace at roughly 0.9 seconds. And so this really sort of confirms what we've understood in the first 2 races of the season, that Mercedes has the power and Ferrari is really struggling to find that. Now, what that means is at a circuit like Suzuka, Suzuka has lots of straights, and there really aren't many opportunities for overtaking, particularly for a team like Ferrari, which again, really is at a disadvantage from a power perspective compared to Mercedes. But what I did observe was that Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton really turned things up in the latter part of the session. And so if they can really sort of do well in qualifying today, they really have an opportunity to potentially take the podiums, at least sort of 2 podiums. And so we'll see what happens today as they get into qualifying. So we begin the day with FP3. And so, of course, they'll shake down the cars and work out any technical issues. But then we get into qualifying, and there's a lot on the line here. Obviously, because it's just been all Mercedes and Ferrari in the season thus far. And now it looks like McLaren has worked out their issues, and they really have found, one, the pace, and then also it looks like they have the Mercedes power advantage as well with the power units that they're running. But the issue is that even though Oscar Piastri ran 27 laps in FP2, Lando Norris, last year's F1 champion, only ran 17 laps. So for Suzuka, which is roughly 53 laps, an hour and a half of racing, can McLaren sustain that? And so we get into everything from energy harvesting to just the reliability of their power units overall. And then what about the rest? Well, Red Bull, again, continue to working through their sort of issues in terms of reliability and generating power as well. They were roughly 1.3 seconds off the pace, and so doesn't look like they'll be in the fight for Suzuka this weekend. And then as far as the other teams as well, Audi with Nico Hülkenberg, he came in 7th in FP2, and so it'll be interesting to see if Audi's actually found something. But Cadillac has actually shown some performance improvements, and what they've done is they've closed the pace to 2.8 seconds. For the first 2 races of the season, they've been roughly 3.4 seconds off the pace. What they've brought to Suzuka are some performance upgrades, and so they're really looking to see if that really helps them with downforce in the curves, because that's really where they're at a disadvantage in terms of aero. So anyway, I'll follow up after qualifying, and I will give you my picks for who I think will take the podium at Suzuka.